So Japan has taken a long time to get here, but it has finally decided to fully open its borders once again for travelers as of the announcement a few days ago. But this latest update is the one I've been waiting for before making this new video. So in this video, along with announcing the new update, I'm going to go through the new features in Visit Japan Web and then give you my opinion as to whether or not you should still use it. I'll also give you an update on mask usage in Japan, and then go through registering and setting up a new Visit Japan web account as of April 29th, 2023, because the menus have changed since my last video. With that being said, let's get going. So if you are entering Japan on or after April 29th, 2023, basically when you watch this video, you are no longer required to submit a valid vaccination certificate or a negative test certificate prior to departure. So like finally, right? So this includes people coming from China, Macau, and Hong Kong as well. So it was originally planned for May 8th, but they decided to move it forward ahead of the Golden Week holidays in Japan. So this is great news for those who wanted to come to Japan but were put off by all the entry requirements. So now you can put Japan back on your travel list. I'll put a link in the description to the official page if you're interested. So with the new update, your next question might be, do I still need to use Visit Japan Web? So before I give you my opinion, I'm going to go through the new features in Visit Japan Web first to help you decide that for yourself. So the first new feature, and probably the most relevant, is the tax-free QR code. So instead of showing your passport each time, you will show a QR code on your phone, which you need to pre-register. So this will only work in stores that have the QR code reader. So for those stores that don't, you still need to bring your passport just in case. So this is a great option for those who do a lot of duty-free shopping. So to create your tax-free QR code, it requires your passport and your travel details, as well as your landing permit, the stamp you get when you arrive in Japan. You need to scan your passport or enter the details manually if it doesn't work, and also scan the landing permit to actually get your tax-free QR code. So the tax-free QR code is valid for 24 hours. So if it expires, you need to get a new one through Visit Japan Web. So the second new feature is Visa Link. This only applies for those applying for Japanese e-visa, which is currently only nationals from 11 countries. So in most cases, it's probably not going to apply to you. Otherwise, if you have your visa insurance number, you can link it with Visit Japan Web. I'll put a link in the description to the guide to help you if you're interested. And that's basically it for the new stuff, which isn't a lot, but it might be useful for some people. So Visit Japan Web was never mandatory, but it did allow you to fast track or speed up some of the entry procedures, which it still does. So the quarantine section has been removed, but the immigration and customs section is still the same. So if you fill in your trip details and your customs declaration ahead of time and show your QR code, you can speed things up at the airport when you arrive in Japan. So if you want to save time at the airports, then I still recommend you registering with Visit Japan Web, even if you don't need the new features. Otherwise, you can ignore it completely and come to Japan and fill in all the details at the airport and do it the old-fashioned way. So the official mask rule since March is that it has mostly been left up to personal choice, and it is still recommended when visiting medical institutions and on crowded trains and buses. And most companies still require their staff to wear a mask when attending to customers. But you'll still see Japanese people, indoors and outdoors wearing masks, even though it is not required. But there is no need for you to do the same. So for me personally, don't wear a mask at all these days, even on crowded trains and buses. I just keep a mask in my bag at all times, just in case. And no one's going to force you to, put on or take off your mask. But do be mindful of, your surroundings and others around you. So to set up your Visit Japan web account, you need to log in through the website, either from your phone or your computer. So if you open up your browser and search for Visit Japan Web in Google, it'll take you to the official page, but I will click on the second option, not the first one, the second link. Should take you directly to the login screen, and you can see up the top the latest update. Anyone entering after April 29th no longer require any certification. So this is the login screen. If you don't have an account, you need to click on the sign up for new account at the bottom. agree to the terms of service and policies and click next. Here you need to enter your email address and choose a password with the kind of strict requirements with symbols required as well. If you didn't enter the password correctly, it'll give you a red error instead. So once you've clicked register account, you need to actually confirm your email address. So you should receive an email from the bjw.digital.go.jp with a 6-digit confirmation code. So enter the confirmation code on this screen here, and then click on confirm email at the bottom. If you didn't receive the email code, maybe check your junk mail in case it's there instead. So click on confirm email. It'll say your email address has been confirmed. Once you have your account created, you can log in to your account. So once you've logged in, the first thing you need to do is register your details. So if you click on your details, you need to answer some yes or no questions to fill in the 5 pages. So usually it's just simple questions. Do you have a Japanese passport? Do you live in Japan? The only thing new here is, will you use the tax-free QR code, yes or no? If you select yes, then go next. You actually need to scan your passport and the landing page that you get when you arrive in Japan. If you select no, then you can just continue through. So now they've added a new feature where you can scan your passport page, which will automatically fill your passport details. If it doesn't work, you can always enter the information yourself, or just do that from the start and click next. Once you've entered all your details on the 5 pages, you can double check everything on the last page and then click register. It'll say registration complete, and you need to check visa requirements. This is also new. If you click that, it'll ask you if you have a visa to enter Japan. In most cases, we receive our visas when we arrive in Japan, so it'll be no. But if you have like an e-visa or you've applied for like a special type of visa, then you can select yes. Otherwise, no should be fine. After you register your details, if you have traveling family members like infants that you want to register as well, you can do that through the details of family members traveling with you. You can add up to 10 members. If you just click add, it'll bring up the same pages as your details. So you just go through the questions once again to add the family member. So the next thing we need to do is register your planned entry and return, basically register your trip. So if you scroll down and click on register new planned entry return, it will ask you if you want to copy your visa details. This is also a new feature. In most cases, if you don't have a visa, you can just skip that step and go proceed to registration without copying details and click next. So here you need to enter a name. This does not matter, say Japan 2023, and your planned arrival date, say May 20th, and your flight number. So the details you enter here will be your trip details. So if you've already booked your flight and your hotel, you can enter your details here. These are required fields, so if you haven't booked your flight or hotel, you might not be able to register. So if you know your flight, you can search for you can't search unfortunately, so you need to scroll through and find your airline and select that, and then enter the flight number and go next. So on the next screen, it'll ask for your intended address in Japan. So this is your intended address. So if you're staying at multiple places, you can just put the first address or whichever address that you know in here, starting with the postcode. And these are all required fields, including the phone number. So once you fit in all your details or the address, you can click on next. On the next page, you can select the family members traveling with you. So you can register family members, but if they're not traveling with you, you can just unselect them. So if you're just traveling by yourself, you just unselect the family members and then confirm your entry details. So once you've confirmed your details, you can register your plan. So once you've registered your trip, it'll show up, Japan 2023 here. If you click on that trip, this is where you can pre-register your disembarkation card and your custom declaration, and then display the QR code. It currently says not registered. So if you click on the disembarkation card and go through the details, most of them will be pre-filled if you've already entered them. Otherwise, just fill in the missing details to set up your embarkation card. For example, your purpose of visit, tourism. So for intended length of stay in Japan, some people get confused by this because it's asking for years, months, and days. So say if you're saying for 33 days, so do I put 1 month and 2 days, or do I put just the 33 days? So because we don't know how many days are in that particular month, it's probably safer just to enter the days. I will just put enter 33 days and 0 months and 0 years just to be safe. You can also do 1 month and 2 days. They are not really strict. If you make a slight mistake here, and click next. So once you've confirmed your intended address, and then the final questions: being deported, found guilty, possess narcotics. No, just confirm your details on the last page, and then that should complete your disembarkation card. So once you've done that, there should be an option to display the QR code, and it'll say registered. And you just have to do the same for the customs declaration by answering some 14 pages, but most of them will be just yes/no questions. So if you're a company employee or a teacher or a doctor, you can select that. So for the point of embarkation, which is basically when you board your flight, you can put any country or city where you board. Even if you transferred in between, I will just put the place you boarded your flight initially. They are not really strict as well in this section. So even if you make a mistake here, it should be okay. And click next. How many people traveling with you? Confirming your address again. It doesn't need your name, the hotel name in this case. And the next few pages are just yes/no questions. In most cases, it'll be no. If you want to declare something though, do make sure to select yes. If you exceed the duty-free allowance, you can select yes. Otherwise, it's just no the whole way through. So once you completed the custom declaration and confirmed everything on the last page and clicked register, you should now be able to get a QR code for your custom declaration as well. And this is how you set up your Visit Japan web if you're not using any of the new features. But this will actually fast track your process through the airport, so you don't have to fill in everything by hand at the airport. If you ever make a mistake, you can always go back and select your trip and delete or edit it if you want to start all over again. So if you select the trip and click delete, you can delete the trip and then register a new trip to start again. I don't think you can actually edit or delete family members or your details. There's no option to delete, only edit. So if you make a mistake there, just leave it as it is. And that's how you set up Visit Japan web. Well, there you go. You can now enter Japan without any restrictions. I hope this video has clarified some questions and helped you decide whether to still use Visit Japan web. If you need a guide on taking the trains here or getting into central Tokyo from the airport, please check out some of my other videos. I'll put a link in the description. Otherwise, enjoy traveling to Japan. Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you found it useful. Please let me know what you think in the comments, or if you have any questions. Please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content from me, and I'll see you in the next video.